Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs. Welcome to a bit of a different video. We're working on the Snapshot today, 19w11a, which just came out, and obviously with the new villager behaviors and stuff like that, a few people are a little bit worried that iron farms are going to completely break and be inoperable, and it's not going to be possible to farm iron golems at all in the upcoming update 1.14, Village and Pillage update, whatever you want to call it. I have come up with a working iron farm design, which is nothing like existing iron farms. So yes, existing iron farms are pretty much going to break, and I'll go into why a little bit in this video. But I'm standing on top of a zombie right now, who is eventually going to lure this iron golem over here into a pit and have him be farmed. Now, my trapdoors, my fence gates and stuff down here are currently on fire, so I probably need to attend to this, probably by fixing the fire spread so that it doesn't burn the entire place down. But I think without that, we would probably have a viable farm here. There we go. The golem is wandering in there. He's just going to end up dying in the lava or the fire, one way or the other. Yeah, I really need to fix this fence gate problem, don't I? So, as I was saying, we actually have a functioning iron farm here. The golem gets lured into this pit thanks to this zombie in the corner here, dies in the usual fashion in lava, and if we come down here into this trapdoor where I've got a barrel set up to collect the drops, you'll see that this thing has been functioning pretty well for a little while. Now, this is under test conditions right now, and the conditions under which iron golems spawn are still not exactly fully documented, so I'm counting on a lot of stuff being right here, and I have no idea exactly how efficient this stuff is going to be. So let me run you through the basics. Right now, all of the doors and stuff you see around here are not necessary anymore. Villages no longer require doors to count as a village. Instead, according to the recent changelog, they require beds, workstations, and mingling sites, or meeting sites, which are usually, right now, around the village bell that we have here. The bells don't really do a whole lot. In Bedrock right now, they actually kind of force the villagers to go inside, thinking that there's a raid happening. In Java, they don't really do a whole lot, and I don't think villagers are capable of ringing bells, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But what happens when the villagers start to mingle, which is usually if you set your time to around 9,000, between 9,000 and the end of the day, which is around 12,000-ish, then villagers will start to congregate around here. The rest of the time, they will go to their workstations and it won't be very useful. But this time of day, kind of the last third of the day, is when you want to be looking at your villagers to spawn golems. Because apparently, according to the changelog, when enough villagers gather around a meeting site, they have a chance to spawn a golem. So I have no idea what the optimum number of villagers is at this point. It could be very few. It could be, you need this many in order to spawn golems. But all I've done is just spam a bunch of villagers, basically as many as I liked, spammed a bunch of workstations around here as well. And when they start mingling, with the time fixed at this position, they are mingling basically constantly, they have a chance to produce an iron golem. And it seems to me like they produce like one or maybe even two at a time sometimes. It is possible for them to spawn an iron golem basically anywhere within this area, and even slightly on the outskirts as well. I've seen one actually spawn over here a bunch of times. And I don't think professions really have much to do with it. You don't need like a whole variety of professions. I was just testing out a bunch of stuff with these guys, and I felt like doing that. Likewise, like I said, I can't reiterate this enough. The doors don't count. The doors are just me messing around with stuff and figuring out what exactly villagers need. Like, do they need like shelter above their beds or anything? I can't really tell at this stage, but I don't think they do. But the way this works, a golem is just going to spawn at some point when these villagers have decided to create one, and it's going to try and pathfind to this zombie. The zombie is going to be inaccessible to the golem. The golem will wander over the trapdoors, thinking they're solid blocks, fall into this water stream, and get carried down to the traditional iron farm death down there. Now, the advantages of having a zombie for the iron golems to pathfind towards is twofold, really, because you can't really have a section of water in the center the way you can with the current 1.13 and earlier iron farm designs, because the villagers need to mingle around a bell of some sort, and it's kind of random where the golem spawns within this area, but it usually spawns among the villagers. So we need a way of getting the golem to move away from the villagers, and that's where the zombie comes in. The zombie actually also keeps the villagers away because they're going to run away from it. It's one of the only hostile mobs that has that behavior. So the villagers will run away from the zombie, basically meaning that they're not going to fall into this trap and die themselves, lowering the population of the village, and the golems sort of wander in over here. Obviously, around here, we would probably have to have fewer doors so that they didn't get caught on those, but for the most part, this all works pretty well. And of course, for maximum efficiency, it might make sense to have more than one zombie, because when golems spawn over there, they take a little bit of time to pathfind over to this zombie in particular. It kind of relies on them wandering in the right direction, but they tend to go on patrol, and from what I've seen, the AI of both the villagers and iron golems is completely unaffected if you're more than 32 blocks away, so they don't tend to freeze in place anymore, because villager AI kind of prompts them to mingle around this work site now, around the meeting site in the center and around their individual crafting stations and stuff. They can still pathfind around there because their AI now takes into account where work sites and meeting sites are and allows them to mingle around them. The iron golem's AI is also not affected by distance, and especially when it starts to get angry at this zombie over here, it's going to want to walk towards it pretty quickly. So in theory, this farm only has to be in loaded chunks. It doesn't have to be one that you AFK at with a 32 block maximum distance. I think as long as the mechanics stay the same, it should be possible to just have this within loaded chunks. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I really don't know a great deal about this yet. I don't know anything about what I'm doing, and folks who are more used to villager mechanics and iron farms, people like Ilmango or Tango or Frilioth or any of your iron farm experts out there, are probably going to have a much more optimized design, are going to know whether or not this is going to affect like stacking villages and stuff like that for larger scale farms like the Iron Titan or Iron Phoenix. I have no idea about any of that stuff. I'm just here reporting what I know because I imagine people are going to want to be guaranteed that iron farms are at least a viable concept in this snapshot. They are, and hopefully this will carry through to 1.14 as well. But as you can see right now, these guys aren't producing iron golems at a particularly fast rate. They're really not churning them out or anything. And even if one or two spawn and then die, it takes a while for another one to show up. Not only that, but of course, with it being tied to the specific time of day, the mingling times, sort of between the 9,000 and 12,000 times of the day, it's going to be really like a short window in which an iron golem could potentially spawn, because they always meet at a specific time of day and the rest of the time they're all at their workstations, and it won't be possible for them to create an iron golem. This is just under test conditions right now, and that's how I've been able to get iron in this quantity in the first place. I also don't know how zombie raid mechanics are going to work, especially if you need this many villagers to be present for an iron golem to spawn. That's going to be a problem. Likewise, pillager raids, if you walk into a village like area around here with a bad omen effect, that's going to trigger a pillager raid, which might also be a significant problem for farms if they have this kind of communal villager area in them. So what we have right now is basically the reverse design of the current iron golem farm, where the villagers occupy the large square in the center and the iron golems are the things going to the outside to fall off and die. So it's going to be an interesting time. I'm looking forward to seeing what iterations of iron golem farm designs emerge. There are probably going to be some that work much better than this and look nothing like this. This is obviously just early days, and it's a test to make sure that iron golem farming is still viable, which I'm happy to report that it is, even if it is ridiculously slow right now. So that's all from me. I just wanted to run this guy past you, and I'm sure by the time I put this video out, some people will have come up with much more efficient designs that are a little bit more optimized, because that's just how the Minecraft community works. You guys are incredible. Keep it up. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to leave a like on it. And yeah, the third person view camera is a little bit weird now, but I'm going to say bye for now, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Chat to you later.